My name is David Elegbede, like I mentioned before, and I'm going to be your anchor for today. Please, let's abide with the rules of this section. If for any reasons we notice
Savio David, are you still there? Okay.
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, I am here. So I'll call on the stage chair to give our welcoming before I call on our first guest for today to take on to start the discussion. So Savio Boluwatufedai Williams, over to you for a brief welcome.
Okay, so David, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone for joining in this evening. I want to especially appreciate also Dr. Lola, our rector, Federal School of Surveying, Oyo, for taking out time to be here this evening and to share from our wealth of experience. Thank you so much, Ma. And to all the SURCON candidates, I wish you all the very best in your exams as well as your folio presentation as well. So thank you. Welcome, Ma. Thank you, Ma. Okay, so David, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I want to assume that many of us know who Dr. Dupeni Lola Olayinka Dosumu is. We must have met her one time or the other. Well, for me, I was privileged to be on a panel and she chaired my panel section, which was a quite very interesting section to say. So she will be here to talk to us for at least 30 minutes so that we can take questions and answer that we are available for her before we move to Savio Afolabi Sholesis. Dr. Dupeni Lola Olayinka Dosumu is actually the rector of the Federal School of Surveying, Oyo, and she's an excellent examiner, an excellent power, raised to power, anything you want to put to infinity. So I'm sure you would enjoy a section. Please just abide with the rules. I'm already seeing a lot of noise on the background. If you are in this meeting, kindly mute your mic, otherwise we might be forced to throw you out of the meeting so that we don't have distractions. So please kindly mute your mic, please. Please, let's comport ourselves. Okay, so warm welcome. Please, if you have the best emojis, you can share on the chat box as I introduce to us Dr. Dupeni Lola Olayinka Dosumu, Director of the Federal School of Survey, Oyo, our first guest speaker for today. Over to you, ma'am.
Hello. Can we hear? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Okay. So I want to thank you for the invite. And without wasting much time, when I got the invitation, the first question that I asked is to know people, the set of people that I'll be talking to. You know, we have different stages of preparation for SURCON examination. The first stage is you starting your pupillage with a recognized office, either an institution, state surveillance offices, private practicing surveillance offices, and all other recognized as stipulated by SURCON guidelines and principles. So you fulfill that, and during the course of your pupillage, it's assumed, or let me even say it's mandatory, that you should have gone through different aspects of surveying as stipulated in the guidelines also. So that will be the second step. And the third one is after 2 years of that pupillage, you submit your synopsis. But you see, we make mistakes. As at the point of submission of your synopsis for assessment and approval, is assumed that your work is almost 80% done and completed. Now, I want to make this a bit interactive. How many of us now, participants today, that have submitted a synopsis, already accepted, and we have been asked to go ahead and proceed with the actual preparation of our folios? How many of us have done 80% of the actual work that we submitted? I want response. So please, the host, can you please collect the response for me?
Okay.
While I proceed? Yes, please, I'm interested in that. Okay. Because you are submitting synopsis. You won't believe that 80% of some of the pupil surveyors just came up with, from experience, just with the title. Oh, I'm happy. Mr. John has done 90%. That's beautiful. Who else? Oh, 92%. We see, assessing themselves. 85%, 80%. Perfect. If at this stage you have done 85%, or I could see 80, 90, this is beautiful. Now, once you have done that, what is remaining? Presentation of the folio. And we are lucky as surveyors, as pupil surveyors. You know the reason why? We have guidelines. It is detailed, but we always wait, procrastinate before we start preparation. And that is where the problem is. Every dot, every page, every word that you are submitting ought to have been vetted, examined by your supervisor. Every page of your work ought to have been signed, sealed, but it's the last day of submission that some people will start, working on it.
Radio.
Hello? Do we understand what I'm saying?
Carry on, sir.
Yes, yes, we
First problem.
Can carry on.
So if you are to submit in how many months' time, and you have not up at this moment, before submission of that synopsis, averagely on 85%, you are writing towards a failure already, and there's nothing much that you could do. It will still be rush at the end of it all. But after, for good, smart pupil surveyors, which I know we are, what do we need to do? The first one, it's like examination. You have guidelines. It's clear. Please follow the guidelines. It's already there. Your aim, your objectives. You start by your introduction. I've seen several projects. Let me first tell you, so that you know from the angle that I'm coming from. I got registered in 2003. By 2012, I started, immediately after 10 years of post-qualification, I started examination with SURCON. I was invited. I was under tutelage for the first 4 years. So it was after 4 years before I became chair of the panel. And I think I contributed my own quota for another 6 years, before stepping out. And what I observed, the major bane to this is that our pupil surveyors did not regard their folio submission as top priority. Full of grammatical errors. People copy word for word, page for page, that you will know if you are a constant, regular examiner. You will know that I've seen this one somewhere. So now, what do we need to do? Now that we have done between, I think averagely what I'm seeing here is between 70 and 95. I will say congratulations for those that are at that stages now. First is the clarity of purpose. You want your folio to be well presented. Clear. I've mentioned that you have to follow guidelines. The second one will now be clarity of purpose. What was the reason behind you doing the job? And for each aspect of surveying or field of surveying, there are processes, there are procedures under your introduction, which normally will come out during your folio examination, oral presentation, is that you must know the basic concepts, the basic principle behind the topic of your choice, the title of your project. You must own it. You must know it. Imagine asking someone, what is the principle behind your GPS observation? And this is somebody that did second, third order control and was looking at you. No response. He didn't know. Basic principle. Okay, you are doing second order. What's the difference between second order? Why are you not doing third? Why is it? So if you want to do control, you need to know different aspects, not because I am working on second order control. And so everything like that has to do with control will come briefly, clear and concise under your introduction. Then you state the area you covered. It must be specific with your coordinates and the location. And by location as a surveyor, you mean the coordinate. And it is always advisable to use geographical, that is the general coordinate, to describe the area of or your point of interest, area of point of interest. That is on that. Thirdly now, has to do with your test of instruments. And I'll give you examples. Somebody did control establishments, did normal perimeter survey, did topo survey. You know, when you are doing topographical surveying, you must first check whether you are the one that did the perimeter or not. You have to check the perimeter. All the tests for the same 4 projects, the same single test, the same instrument, the same test. And these are projects done within the period of 2 years apart. Some we even they've assumed that the difference between the vertical left and right must not be more than 2 seconds. They crooked the figure. You will know that all these figures are not direct. You must actually perform the instrument test. You must perform your instrument test, and everything must be written clearly. That is the aspect that is and then you must, the choice of your equipment that you are using. About 4 years ago, a lady from Niger State failed. Somebody failed in my group. You know, as a woman, you have this bias. This is a lady and she has tried. What was the problem? She did layout survey. Good. She has the town planners design, the layout design, the perimeter, everything done. We just ask simple questions. How did you set out? How did you set out this layout? How did you set out block by the principle behind it? We all know it's from pole to part. Start with the perimeter, confirm the boundary. You go block by block. From block, then you go to each plot. Now, if you are going to use GPS, you need to let us know. I'm using this GPS, but the GPS that you're going to use, is it going to be which mode? Real time, pre-processing. She said I was just moving my, no reference to master station, nothing. For setting out of a layout, you must know the concept behind the choice of your instrument. If you know you cannot handle DGPS for setting out, go back to your total station, or even at worst, your theodolite. They will do the same work. And you still get, it's only time that will be affected. So we need to know the concept, the principle behind each project that we're doing. Then we assume a lot. For those of us that are doing GPS observations for second order control of our perimeter, normally you print out your log data. Almost everybody is affected here. You have forgotten that when you are printing out your log data for post-processing, if you are not doing it in real time, the date, time, everything is already in your log. Some people will go back and start changing dates to reflect. I had that, in fact, it was a military guy in my group that claimed to have done a GPS observation 2 years back. Meanwhile, the date on the log was dated almost 12 years. You understand? And that is what your examiner wants to look at for. Those are the basic rudiments that must be in your folio. Then after that, your results, your product. You have done the instrument test. There's something we call pre-qualification, they call it pre-assessment, kind of. What are the things you consider before, for example, you want to do cross-sectionally, longitudinal profile, cross-section. You are going to choose, normally the for your profile, it's not going to be at the same distance with your vertical. That's the cross-section. What is the reason behind the choice of your distance? There are two ways to it. I'm going to do, I have different, so long area to cover, very long distance to cover. And my instructor said I should do it, or the client to my supervisor said it has to be 20 meters interval. Put it there. Let everyone in the project be part of it, be involved in it, because it's yours. It's not it's not your guy. Your guy has his own registration. It is you. So you must present in your folio your level of involvement and the reason for the choice of each specification. Fortunately, these are things that are already available in the survey guidelines for all candidates. So it must be your Bible. Now, the processing. If you want to do second order control, and you say, I've just done post-processing, no error analysis, nothing. Then you are doing second order control. The origin that you are using is third order. Hello? Somebody, for example, you want to establish second order control and your connection, your origin, starts from a third order control or second order control. That is not control establishment. You are extending. So we need to get all this right. If it is third order, you can start from second. That means you are establishing third order control. And because you are processed in your normal post-processing, you still need to do proper adjustment. You need to do proper adjustment. So I sometimes pity us that once garbage in, garbage out, because you stay for 1 hour and then you process on a Leica geo system and you assume that is it. It isn't. For second order, you need first order contact to connect your work. So please let us get everything right. Control establishment or control extension. There are so many things involved in that. And the type of instrument that we use also. Also, the same thing is applicable for vertical controls. So, and we've tried to look at so those are the common mistakes that people make. You can refer to other people's work, please note that. But do not copy, do not plagiarize. That is why you need to start as soon as possible. This is what I did. This is the process. Then your computation. And make sure you carry your supervisor along all the way. Now, as an examiner, if a candidate will score, at least I know this candidate is going to pass. You know, the first thing I normally check is the survey plan. The plan attached to your work. That is the first thing I will just grab, because that is what is depicting all your sweat on the field. You will see how do you present your survey plan? You know, in the oil and gas industry, they have a format. But when you are coming to SURCON, which format are you going to use? And we have standard for survey, what the contents of a survey plan must be. I think that was done even in basic surveying in maybe 200 level, from 100 to 200 level. And you do that also when you were doing cadastral. So what are the basic features that must be in your survey plan? Every detail, your Recce, right from your Recce diagram. So many Recce diagrams without direction of the knob. So many survey plans without direction of the knob. Some people will even copy just directly from Google, no orientation, nothing. You are not drawing your Recce diagram to scale. You know, I'm coming to survey plan now presentation. But you must indicate direction of your knob. You must also sign every page of your Recce diagram, not because it is Recce. And you have to state that it is not drawn to scale, because you can't draw it to scale. That is very, very important. Now, people make a lot of mistakes when it comes to longitudinal stroke cross-section. How can you did a survey, you covered a perimeter of almost 200 or let me say 20 hectares, and you are presenting such. In fact, part of it you did topo of it. That means if you are doing topographical, you are going to present your spot heights. You must know different colors for we call them symbols. The symbols and the color that you are going to use to represent your features. So which color is for spot heights? Which color is for water bodies? Which color is for your contour line? What is the contour interval? Some people do not understand the reason why you are choosing contour interval. You have access to suffer, and then you just pick, you know. But even the server itself has drop-down keys where you can make your choice of what the interval that you want in plot. So make sure all your survey plans are legible, are readable, and then you have to be very careful with the decimal places. And some people make mistake when you are doing hydrographic surveying. You are not using normal contour. You are doing what they call is chart. And it is the depth that you are representing. And the way we annotate that is quite different from all the decimals appear like subscripts when you are doing charts for hydrographic charts. It is totally different when you are from that of the contour. But some people will say, oh, we have done the hydro, and then they present hydro like normal topo. This is not acceptable. And relief map, if you are using relief, if you are using terrain analysis, everything must be clear, concise, and then you must be able to represent every feature to details. Don't forget, there are rules. Your contour lines are not supposed to cross your buildings. But in software, once you do that, it crosses across. But you have to do final editing and make sure you remove that. Then also, after the map, and then don't forget for top, I mentioned it for longitudinal profile, you are using different scales, most likely for your vertical and for your longitudinal. And then because you are using that for engineering, the orientation will change. So please don't forget the direction of your north when you are doing that. For your cross-sectioning, for your longitudinal profile, there are two separate things, and you need to know which one to use. Please, every topic you choose, study them very well and know the basic principle. And I will now go to the field sheets. Normally, when we started surveying years back, your field, you have where you draw, your recce, like this pamphlet. I'm at point A. This is where we go to point B. You draw all the, everything that you see on all the features, representing them along that line. Then later when you get back, you now draw the diagram, and then you see it there. It was after I noticed, after the project had been done, that somebody will now look for pencil and start drawing. It's so common, start drawing recce diagram. Your recce diagram should be part of your field sheet. And also, don't forget that your supervisor and you as the candidate must sign every sheet. If you are rushing, your supervisor will forget or you won't have time. But if you start on time, please note that, must be signed by you field sheets. And at the end of the day, there must be certification. On your survey plan too, there must be certification, whether it's hydro or by you and your supervisor, with seal, with your supervisor seal. Please don't forget. Check every page. And our advice also, before you bind, look for how do I put it, an independent reviewer. After your supervisor has done everything, you have to look for people that have experience and can help you check through. If you are starting late, you won't have that privilege. And it is important. Let me tell you what happened. Somebody was using cut and paste. He did a project from the east, maybe Enugu or so. In the course of rushing, he just copied the coordinate of the previous, maybe Aba or whatever, as the one for Abakaliki or whichever one. The same project, different, the same coordinates of the areas of the project. You will make such mistakes. So please start on time and do that. And then also on the final note, because you are doing GPS observation does not mean that everything is automatic. Because you have downloaded, you still need to plot, analyze your error. Normally, either if it's normal theodolite, you use boundage adjustment. If it's total station, you will see error analysis, error ellipse, and all that. Please do that. Your supervisor does not need to sign your recce diagram. It's not necessary. You sign it as your recce diagram. And if he also has the time to just append his signature, it's good also. But you can say, this is my recce diagram. I certified that I did it. If you have the time, why not? And it is all these things you are seeing in this recce are not drawn to scale. You mentioned it before. One supervisor will just examiner will just put a scale rule. Then let me also, on our survey, is the use of AutoCAD. By the time you set your work in CAD or ArcGIS, you are using A0 size. But don't forget that you have graphical scale. You are using graphical scale, apart from saying 1 in 2000. If you are not plotting to scale, at the end of the day, your examiner, in fact, SURCON will give them scale rule. You say, my map, you've written it, you draw it graphically, 1 in 2000, that is my survey plan. And I pick the scale and it's giving me 1 in 2,500, 1 in 3,050. That is, you are not representing the actual, the reality in your work. And that is automatic cancellation, or unless the examiner is magnanimous enough to let go. So please, when you are plotting, immediately you did your first draft, pick out your scale rule and make sure the scale. And please meet professional cartographers. Some people are specialists in this. So if you want to draw, what are the symptoms for trees, forest area? There are different shrubs, different cartographic symbols. You need that expertise in your folio presentation. And most importantly, please don't forget that each project must have its own table of content. So this is how it goes. For the general, all the paper, the main projects, your minor 1 to 4, you will have the main table of content. But for each also, you must have, table of content for each project, whether it is minor or not. There must be table of content for that. Your list of figures. And then when you are writing on your report, what you actually did, and you say, I plotted so. Always at the end of it, put C pages, so for my feed sheets. C pages, so for my survey plan. It must be there. And all pages must be numbered. Do we get that? It is mandatory. You cannot miss out on a single page. All pages must be done. And your supervisor, don't forget your certification. Some people will just sign. The supervisor will sign, the candidate will not sign. In fact, there was a candidate that submitted, normally 4 copies, 3 copies or so, or 4. He was holding one. The one that he thought, okay, I have 1 copy for myself. I don't need to sign. By the time he was submitting, you know what he did? He submitted the one that was not signed. Unfortunately for me, that was what came to me as the chairman of the panel. But by the time we met as a group, I said, please, this guy did not sign. What do we do? So 2 other people brought up their own, and we now discovered that they were all signed. So when he came for the interview, we look at, in fact, the first thing he said, oh, I'm very sorry. This is the copy I ought to. When you rush, there will be mistakes. So please do not rush. And on final note, let me emphasize this. The use of normally is common when you are doing minor street guide map. Candidates are always how many of us have street guide maps as part of hello? I want response.
We are with you.
Hello.
Yes, how many with street guide maps as part of their minor project?
I have it. We are numbered.
You have it. Oh, good. Now, the question I want to ask, I know lazy bones, they will have it. Okay, so what is the source of your data that you are going to use for that? What's the source?
Google Earth imagery.
Oh, you see, Google it. What's the scale?
Google Sheets.
Topo. The scale of that topo. What's the scale?
For my own,
street
is
map.
150,000.
1 in 50,000. Did you see any road? The width of the road? You see, that is the basic concept. You are doing a road, not street. You said street, not major road. So what is the minimum, even for resolution? What is the minimum that you can generate that we give you? Because street guide map of 1 in 5,000 may not be useful. I think 1 in 1,000, 1 in 2, that is the scale that will make it, people readable. But by the time you are using Google Earth imagery, somebody will now say, okay, you are covering an area of maybe 5 kilometers by 5 kilometers, and then you are using just 4 control points to georeference it. Is that not how many points? Please, somebody. How many points did you use? They would not say, okay, they crop out the area from Google Earth imagery and then import it, or some will say we do it directly. But at what scale? What is the scale of the street map that you're doing, you want to produce? And what is the scale or resolution of your base map? You understand me? So all this matter in the presentation of your folio. Then don't forget the color. Firstly, if you have nice presentation, like my late prof, we say Professor Willow, say brand yourself, market yourself. Your presentation must be neat. If the color is green, look at the SURCON guidelines and check the color. Take it to your binder. I want this thing done, and I want it done very, very neatly. I want it done very, very neatly. And then you have it. But if you rush it, there will be everything. Mostly, don't forget the certification of your main supervisor in front of every project, either main or minor. Do we understand that? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I want response.
Hello?
Don't forget, or no
Yes, we do.
account must you forget.
Yes,
If your supervisor does not sign your certification and all that, there will be issues. And make sure that the envelope where you're putting your maps, all your survey plans and maps are well closed and sealed. You bind them together. Let them trim everything and let it be neat. You have scores for every aspect that I've covered. Your survey map, your presentation, the neatness of your folio, the cover, everything has score. Everything. So at the end of the day, I think the score is already known mostly. And by the time you come for your oral presentation, it's just to put stamp that yes, I did the job. So don't copy. You can refer to other people's work, but please make sure you own the project. Thank you for the invite.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. God bless you, man. Please, can we drop some beautiful emojis to appreciate our first speaker in person of Savio, Dr. Dupe Nilola Olayinka Dosunmu. Yes,
Thank you.
It's good to have you here. Please, sorry,
Thank you, ma. Thank you, ma. We're so happy, ma. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. So, quickly, we'll take question, but not now, because she was supposed to come for the second section, but because we couldn't get in touch with Savio Afolabi Shelesi at the time we were starting the first
sorry,
section.
Oga is online. Sir, please, good evening, sir.
He's online, so he's coming on now.
Please, my regards to him. Oga,
Good
evening, sir. How are you, sir?
How are you today?
I'm
How
good,
am I
sir.
doing?
We are good. Eating amala in Oyo and they will do.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So I'll do an introduction. I'm sure that Rector would please hold on for the question and answer section, so that I can allow Savio Afolabi Shulesi to come on board, because he has excused himself to from a program to be part of this discussion. So ladies and gentlemen, dear participants, candidates of this year's SURCON exams, it's a big privilege for me to introduce to you Savio Afolabi Shulesi, former registrar of SURCON, former chairman NIS Lagos, and also the current chairman of the Board of Fellow Lagos State branch, a very distinguished, and I think Oga used to use one word to qualify state chairmen that have done very well. I think he says, is it bona fide or something? Maybe he can help us once he comes on board. But we're happy to have him here. Please, there's no standing here, but with a clap and a nice emoji, please, let's welcome Savio Prince Afolabi Shulesi, FNIs. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Let me start by apologizing for not coming on earlier. I was at another program and I had to join them again. So please pardon me if I'm doing this in my car to make sure I don't disappoint our upcoming surveyors. So good evening, everybody. Let me appreciate the leadership of the YSN in Lagos State for inviting an old school surveyor, a very analog surveyor, that to come and participate in this. And I hope at the end of the day, you will gain one or two things. I'll be very brief because I know the participants here are already graduates of some universities, on maybe polytechnics and whatever, and they must have been enrolled as pupil surveyors by SURCON. It is assumed that they've had their pupillage in approved offices, though I know some of you are maybe, shall we say, nomadic pupil surveyors. But, you like to run from pillar to post looking for money. I don't blame you, but make sure you balance up everything so that you don't look for money and forget the purpose for which you got enrolled as a pupil surveyor. Having said that, the exam to become a surveyor of the Federal Republic of Nigeria are maybe in more than one part, yes, because you have written exams where you write on survey laws and professional practice, and you also do an essay. Let me say that the survey laws and professional practice is mainly to test your knowledge of the rules and regulations guiding the practice of surveying. We all know that surveying is a very regulated profession. So if you fail survey laws, it means you don't know the rules, regulations guiding the profession that you want to belong to. And that would be most unfortunate. Now, the essay on its own is just to test your ability to gather your thoughts together within a short time. I mean, put up a proposal, for instance, for a client. Your use of English, command and knowledge of British English, which is what we use in Nigeria, will be put to test here. It is very important. But let nobody be scared. Essay is just like an advanced form of what we used to do in the primary and secondary schools, which is composition. So it shouldn't be much of a problem for you. I'm sure you must have gone through the rigors of that from some of the lecturers in the past. Now, when you do the written exams, you must have submitted your own folio. And I'm sure the things that guide the submission of folios is what you have in the examination guidelines published by SURCON. It guides you on the spread, the size, and what have you of all the projects that qualify to be submitted as a part of your discourses. I had Professor Nilola Olaikadusmi telling you about the issue of numbering of pages. You must serially number your pages. No page must be omitted. Serially and sequentially numbered, all the pages. It is very important. Don't joke with the adjustments by your supervisor don't forget to ensure that he signs and seals everything that is necessary, because those are the issues that your examiners who are far more experienced than you will look at. Let me tell you that some of us examiners, well, I'm no longer an examiner, but what we used to do is when you put some maybe n number of pages of literature review, I just look at you and abandon it, because to me, you are just copying and pasting. But the nitty-gritty is how you executed your job, and it will be put to test when you go for the defense. Now, don't forget, like we were told earlier, originals of the certificates for citing. And let me tell you where most people fail the folio. Your knowledge of cartographic symbols and colors. Most people think examiners are fool, but they go in there and, I mean, when you see a contour and passing through a body of water or through a building, you know that person doesn't know what he's doing. Even if you use software like we are told, you ought to do the final editing to make sure such things do not get carried with the exam. It is very important, please look at that. Now, any certificate or certified true copy of fake books, must be endorsed by your supervisor. Run you through all those things in a rush so that we can be opportune to have time for 1 or 2 questions before I take my exit. I want to once again thank the state coordinator and their school and all of you for giving me this opportunity. Here you are, my brothers and sisters.
Thank you very much, sir. Please, let's give him our emojis again to appreciate our distinguished fellow and elder in the profession for the time spent with us and the sacrifice he has made to be with us for this wonderful discussion. Now, quickly, please, if you have questions, you can raise your hands or drop the questions on the chat box. I'm sure I will look into it and will also be notified if I've missed anyone. But quickly, let's run through while we gather questions. Let's run through some of the things that has been discussed. The Rector of Federal School of Survey, Surveyor Dr. Jukbeni Lainka Dosu, FNIs, said a lot, and she talked about ensuring while you take reference from other people's work, make sure you do not copy. Make sure you don't copy people's work. She also advised that you should start early. For those who are not writing this year, probably writing next year or the year after, please, let's take note of this. Start early so you do not have to rush your project. Know the basic principles of your project. If you are choosing routes, ensure you know the basic principles of the route that you have chosen, irrespective of the methodology, because the examiners might want to test your full knowledge of the choice of project that you have chosen. Now, for, again, places like Topo, why you are not too concerned about the boundaries. She has also mentioned that, you have to do boundary confirmation to ascertain that your boundary is actually correct with what has been sent to you. Your instrument checks is also very important. And Surveyor Afolabi Shulese has also explained to us that they all have their marking scheme for all these presentations, methodology, your result presentation, your level of involvement, process, and it is important for you to do your error deduction. Even if you assume that you are using a differential, make sure you show your you estimate errors and do your error deductions. Ensure you use SURCON standard at all time, irrespective. You might be in oil and gas, and oil and gas is how they do their thing, but ensure that you maintain the guidelines as stated by SURCON. Sign every page of your recce, whether yourself, and if your supervisor has the time, you can also sign. Use different symbols and standard colors. Make sure your presentations are legible and very readable. Note the choice of your skill. Study your basics, the basic principle of your project. I said that before. Sign and seal up pages of data page, very important. Start on time and get someone to proofread for you. Each project must have its own table of content. That's another piece and privileged information that we are having today. Remember your certification. Remember to certify your project and your drawings also. Then Surveyor Afolabi also explained to us that we are expected to carry out your pupillage in an approved survey office, and it's believed that many of us are doing that already. Otherwise, I'm sure you will not be enrolled to be a pupil surveyor. He explained the essence of essay writing and then professional exam. He said essay writing is actually to get your thoughts on issues, your command of English, your composition, and how it helps your communication. Actually, let me add that one as my own personal experience. Professional examination also, that's the aspect of professional practice. Rather, it helps to test your knowledge about surveying. How well do you know the survey practice and the profession itself? Then it elaborated on marking scheme, and he advised that we should ensure that we should use British English, which means if go and check your Microsoft Words, your setting, if it's in America, please kindly change. And also maybe you pay for Grammarly to help you make correction in tenses so that you don't make mistakes. So this is just a brief summary of what has been discussed so far. Please don't forget that when you join the meeting or while you're on this call, you should mute your mic so that we can all be not be distracted and we can be on the same page. So now to questions. If you have questions, please, you can raise your hands while I run through the chats. Okay. I see a question that talks about what is the approved color for sports item topographical plan on the topographical plan. I don't know if Dr. La will just give us a one-shot answer to that. I know it's always a confusing statement sometimes, whether it is brown or it is black. So Rector, please, can you just give us a one-shot answer to the question?
Yes, there's no confusion about it. Contour lines are always in brown. Brown color. Now, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Contours are brown colors for contour.
Okay.
But for sports eyes, blue. But you know, when you are doing hydrographic charts, it is blue all through. Some people prefer to use brown also as spot height, but when you are having complete contour lines and spot height, you can use blue for the spot height and then brown for the lines, the contour lines. And also the contour interval, you know, you have to label, even if it's 5 intervals, it's always in brown as well. You can pick up any survey plan from the Survey General's office. Look at the standard survey plan. You can go online also and check. When we're trained, you put the spots, then you write 85.5 in blue, while the lines are in brown. The contour interval also in brown. The lettering goes with the contour line. So that is it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, ma'am. So I think that's addressed.
Are we okay?
Yes,
Hello?
yes. We can. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Okay. Quickly,
Hello?
there's another. Hello. Yes, ma'am. Yes, we are okay. We are okay. Thank you. So, okay, I see some questions, and there seems to be questions that are supposed to be self-read. So I don't know if examiners are supposed to be the one to tell candidates how to adjust post-process data for control extension. I think that should be between the candidates and their colleagues, and also maybe their supervisors or their lecturers. Or you can refer to the booklets, the guideline booklets on some of these things or past projects. So we just jumped that. Okay, I think we've answered really a few questions and everybody's asking about. Okay, there's a question that says, can we answer survey law in our own understanding using enabling act as guide? And or we use the word for word as it is in the enabling act. So I don't know if Surveyor Shelesi can help us with that. This is law now. So it is believed that you don't twist the law, or some believe that you have to put the word like we did in an undergraduate, where you want to put the words for words, comma for comma, full stop for full stop. So this person is asking that can we answer survey law in our own understanding, in our own words, rather than having to put them words for words? So what will you advise, sir?
I would advise that you answer in your own understanding, using your own words. If you want to quote the law, you must quote correctly. If you quote the law and misquote, you'll be shooting yourself in the foot. So answer to your own understanding, using your own expressions, but making sure that you remain focused on what the question is, so that the answer you provide is what is expected of you. If you want to quote the law, you must quote word for word, comma for comma, please.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. So that has raised that. This question here talks about what class of survey can we classify land reclamation survey? I don't know if Dr. Lola would help us on this. Land reclamation survey, what classification of projects can it fit into? Hello, ma.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you. Land reclamation can be under engineering survey and also cadastral.
Okay.
So it depends on the purpose. Oh, sorry. Hello?
Hello, I can hear you.
So it depends on the purpose for the land reclamation. Are you reclaiming flooded land? If it's flooded land and you want to reclaim with the purpose of self-filling, can you hear me, please?
Yes,
Hello?
yes, I can hear you. We can hear you, ma.
Okay. For the purpose of self-filling, then it is under engineering. Because you are not only doing the perimeter, you have to do the depth. So are you reclaiming eroded area? So it's not just, it must be for specific purpose. And mostly it goes under engineering survey. But if at the end of the day, you are still going to lodge the final product, the perimeter and every other aspect of the land already reclaimed, you still need to do it like normal perimeter survey, which comes under cadastral. I hope I'm okay. Hello?
Yes, ma. Yes, you're very okay, ma. Thank you, ma. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So it depends on the purpose of reclamation.
Okay, thank you very much. So there is another question here. I think Surveyor Shelesi would help us to address it. It says someone that got enrolled as at 2017 and has finished his or her logbook, is it necessary to buy a new logbook or we leave it?
Well, it depends on what really think you need the logbook for. The logbook is supposed to keep a record of the projects that you undertake during pupillage. And if within the first logbook that you got, you have completed, you have more than enough projects that you can submit, you don't have to buy another one. That logbook already contains all the projects that you want to submit for the exams. But if you just want to make sure that SURCON keeps a record of all the projects we do while under pupillage, so be it. But if the first logbook already has all the projects that you submit, then you don't have any business buying another one. That's my simple.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. So I move to the next question that says that what can we do when there is no existing streets guide map as a base map? Can we create a map from imagery? I think Surveyor Dr. Lola talked about this aspect, so I'll just allow her to buttress more on it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay. I said what
No,
the
I heard
questions.
you.
Okay.
Now, you can, but it depends on the resolution. I mentioned it earlier. The street map or any map that you want to get out, your vector that you want to get out of the map, what is the scale? So, you know, the scale is a function of height and the resolution of what ST equals to F over H. That is the scale if you want to do it through. So, but do you have details? I mean, the metadata on the image that you're using. So, I'm not saying you cannot use it. If you want to use a scale, a map that has scale of 1 in 15,000, 1 in 25,000, better. But when you are going to large resolution or higher scale map.
Hello. In the course of
I'm sorry, please, you can't just jump on the calls. You need to signify and get a permission to talk, please. You can raise your hand and we'll let you come on.
Okay, noted, sir. Noted.
Thank you. Retoma. Hello, ma. We can't hear you. I guess you are muted. Hello. Okay, maybe it's the network. Okay, we just wait for her to come. We can't hear her again. So there's another question that says, in detailed survey where drone image is used, is it necessary for the candidate to include eyes? I'll just jump this because of our time and go to questions that will require our guest here to answer. When it is detailed, it is XY, so there's no Z. So that's just it. Okay. There's another question here says, SURCON said origin in UTM, but some states still use local origin with no converting parameter to UTM. What can one do in this case? So, please, can you help us can you advise on this?
I'm surprised that some states use local origin. But again, that is something that can under kind of some marks. If you try to bring down controls from a nearby place into that particular area of operation, so that it will be seen as something novel, something that is new to that area. You are bringing in controls from another state to that place. And good thing, you have a lot of equipment now that you can use over a long set of road and bring coordinates from where you have. But I'm surprised that can work on local origin. But like I said, just make sure you bring in controls and justify such thing, and you have an extra pass.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I know states like Delta still use NTM. So I know states like Delta still use NTM. So I guess that's why this kind of question is coming. What is the standard skill to be used for? No, I wouldn't take this. I expect candidates are expected to work on their skill by themselves. The facilitators might not be the one to answer this question. So I don't know. Let me check again if I've missed any. I think I have done justice to the questions that have been sent to the chat. Okay, now this will be the last question. It says, is it necessary to attach the old survey plan to our folio in the case of boundary reestablishments? I think it's a yes already, so we'll just move on. Thank you. So we're done with the question and answer section, and we want to appreciate our guest speaker, our daddy and our mommy, for helping us to do justice and showing us love and concern by making themselves available for this event. So we'll just go straight to sharing experience. I think maybe I start first, then I'll call some other registered surveyors that I can see here. Well, luckily for me, I was privileged to have Dr. Lola as my panel chair. And some of these things she said was, maybe it was quite interactive. And my experience was that I noticed that it is good for you to be composed. And like she said, I think most of my interaction came outside of the project, and they were born out of the project, because for my topo, I use a primary control, and she was asking me, do I know anything about standard control? And we started the interaction, and she was referring to the one in FSS Oyo. So then I remember I did orthophoto for detailing, and she asked a question that threw me back to my 200 level in undergraduate, which was about how do I determine my skill factor. And it was very interactive, you know. So these were questions outside. So like she had said, that you should prepare for, you should know the basic principle of your project. And because anything can be thrown at you, especially when you have a very sound panel. So it might if you are not very good at what you're doing, it might sweep you off your feet. Then also, my experience also was that personally I did that, and when I got to the panel, that was the first thing that was thrown at me. I remember that immediately I entered, before I was offered a seat, the first thing Dr. Lola did to me was it was more psychological for me, because yes, she knows me, and she mentioned, oh, YSN, and before I was offered a seat, the first question is, why did you use 10 meters for your spot height interval for a site of 23 hectares of land? And I was not offered a seat, and I needed to answer. I was just walking in, and that was the first question that was thrown to me. So it makes me to understand that the examiners have read ahead of the candidate, and some of these things you might not really prepare for might be thrown at you. And I remember that the only defense I had for myself was that because I do not want to alterate the specification by the client, which I have attached to the project, I have decided to leave it that way, because that was what the client required of me. Then also about symbols and all those things, I remember myself and Rector had a little check and balance on what is the color for gully, because I had a detail that had a gully section of the whole community, and I used, when I couldn't find, I actually looked for, and it was not covered, and when I couldn't find, I decided to use a similar color to blue. And then she queried, and I said, I looked for, I couldn't find. And she checked online, and we couldn't find something that could. So I said, and you know, getting a defense for what you're doing, why you took a decision also matters. So I said I used it because I believe gully are water passage. They carry water, and I felt that's the closest symbol representation I can give a gully. So you must be prepared, like they have advised, and please let's hold on to that. Let me check here. I think I saw Savio Theophilos on this call. So if he's here, please can you take your time? Can you just take maybe a minute or 2 minutes to share your experience at the panel or during your SURCON exam?
Yeah, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Okay, happy Sunday to everyone. I will be brief but a bit detailed. My experience was quite very interesting one. I sat for exams last year, and I would start with the exams, which comes first before the interview, for the panel interview. I would talk about it in two parts: what happens before the exams and what happens during the exams. And I would just weave in my advice from there. Before the exams, we had to prepare in groups. What worked for me, but I would want someone to also learn from this. We had to prepare in groups. So we had study groups, which everyone had his own core area of strength, which we dissected the laws and the regulations from time to time. And that also helped me. And there is no need staying and overplugging the issue that you cannot read enough. You can't prepare enough because the laws are broad and they are very vast. So you need to do a lot of reading and studying in that aspect. But for the exams proper, and I want us to, those that are writing here, to really commit this to mind. You are going to see a lot of drama on the morning of the exam, particularly with people that are what we would call I too know in common parlance. Because when we got there in the morning, a lot of people are telling you that this is where the questions will come from, a lot of pressure, a lot of tension. Have you read this? Have you read that? I would want to tell us that there's basically nothing you're going to commit to your memory that morning. The best thing is just to keep calm and keep your composure and get in there and let out what you had studied. So don't give in to the pressure of 9-minute reading, studying, giving into what could be and what could not be. Do your own due diligence, prepare, and when you get there, you, by the grace of God, write what you have to write and leave. But I want to dwell on the defense, on the interview, the folio defense. The examiners have done justice to telling us a greater percentage of what we need to know. But I would just want to add, based on my own experience, once you submit your folio, or even before you submit your folio, please read your folio as if you are going to sit for a written exam as well. Because in reading your folio, you would get to sieve or to pick out possible questions and prepare yourself beforehand. It's not just enough for you to rush over your folio, submit it, and get ready for what you're going to say. Please read your folio. It's even in reading your folio, you will notice mistakes and prepare yourself to defend those mistakes if need be. So please thoroughly read your folio. Look at your plans. You have a ready answer for every mistake you see. If it's something you can't make an excuse for, apologize politely to the panel and own up for it. Don't try to be smart. Don't try to outsmart them. You can't even outsmart those people on the panel. They have been there for years. So if you have noticed a mistake in your folio and you have already submitted it, get ready to apologize for it and own up, because part of what you are put through, what you are going up for, you're not just being a surveyor, you're a manager. So of course we see some people also, I don't know if this was mentioned, some people write it on their folio. I set up the instruments, I took reading, I processed. You did everything on your own. That is just unreasonable. Even in practice, no one surveyor does everything on his own. So it's a teamwork. So you're expected to be a manager. So when you are going there to defend or your project, make sure you speak not just as a chainman, but as a manager. You coordinated the survey activities that led to the product of the work. So that's on one hand. Then on the other hand, composure.
You have 30 seconds more, please.
Oh yeah, let me just rush over this. Composure, because sometimes you get to wait till 4 p.m. before you get in for your defense and you lose composure and all that. Please don't lose your composure and your cool. Don't get drifted. Don't lose your composure. When you get in there, be polite. Know what you did and be able to defend it in accordance with what is in the guidelines. Don't say I use blue because I feel like using blue. It should be in accordance, because this is a highly regulated profession that we all know. So please be acquainted with your project. Read it as if it's let it be your Bible between now and September. And of course, be prayerful as well. Be very, very prayerful, and of course, the sky will be the limit. So there's basically nothing really mystical about the whole SURCON process. Forget about what people will say. You will see people that have come and make up stories about coming back 10 times or 50,000 times.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Savio Theophilus. Do we have Savio Genesis or Savio Malaria Avose? Are we here? Savio Otzing, if you are here, please, you can also. Okay, I guess they are not yet. So, Bolu, let me allow you to share your experience. I know you are a registered surveyor. The stage chair, please. Okay, I think she's not. Maybe she's engaged with something. So, well, we've heard from the elders. We've heard from those who are just done. You know, if you also need to eat that morning, please eat very well and be mentally stable. The written exams are always somehow, and if you are not very careful, okay, I'll call you now. If you are not very careful, the stress of the day can take you off, because before they move you from one hall to another and everything, psychologically, you can be swept off. Then also be sure of what you have read, like Sebestinos has said, before some people sweep the little that you know from your head. Just have confidence in yourself and have confidence in your God, and make sure you have done your duty before hanging it on God's hands. Okay, stage chair, please.
Okay. Apologies. Well, I think they have all spoken well, and Xavier Theophilos have actually said a couple of things that I wanted to say as well. And well, it is for the folio. Dr. Lola has spoken well, as well as Xavier Sholesi. So I think another thing, the color of the folio is also very important too. I know some of the examiners also question some people for not having the kind of color, you know, kind of green that some candidates are supposed to have. So please familiarize yourself with the color for the folio as well. And then be cool, be calm. And if you have your projects ready, or some of them, even if you don't have everything ready, have one or two people go through them for you. We also still intend to connect with some of the examiners, as well as people who could go through some of those projects for us here, you know. So, and I think tentatively that will be done on the 2nd of August. So if you want people to go through them, even if it's one you have now too, please bring it so that people can check for you. And like Theophilos also said, he said, you know, if you notice there's any mistake, have your, I don't want to repeat all of that, but it's similar, you know. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm told that that's our stage chair, our very beautiful stage chair. So I've been told that we have some announcements. So I'll call Savio Adediji Adegoke, the deputy stage chair, to help us with the announcement before I take the one piece of advice from the two speakers that we had today, and we call it a day. So Savio Adegoke Adediji, please.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. It's evening already. So, Savio, David, thank you very much. Thank you for what you've done. To our two great speakers, thank you very much, ma and sir. Dr. Lola and then Savio Sholesi, FNIS. I put S at the back. So, thank you very much. So the announcement is simple. Now, this is not the end of it all. We would continue to series. The next one will be physical, and then we would expect to throw out a link for our members, registered members. So throw out a link that you fill out the form. After filling the form, would also you'll be invited, or we'll send out a date for a physical vetting of projects. Now, this is not to derail you from what you are doing already. It's just to probably guide you or point out some mistake that you can easily correct and all of that. And that will be coming up soon. Of course, before submission, weeks before submission. And then after which, we'll also have another webinar after submission for your for the law, the essay, other written exams and all of that. So please cheer up. When we send out this link, please register. Make sure that you're a member of YSN Lagos, because we will not want to pack so much load on our examiners. So we are strictly dealing with members for now. Maybe in the nearest future we can elaborate to others, but then we are dealing with our members. So please watch out, and please, immediately the link is out, please fill the form and let us know the next line of action. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Deputy State Chair. So we'll take
sorry, sir,
final...
let me quickly interject.
Okay.
So when the link is out, the link will close on the 2nd of August. So if you're not, the link will close on Tuesday, next Tuesday. So if you don't fill it by Tuesday, you will not be eligible to participate in the physical, which is, at the moment, the proposed date is 2nd of August. So please, when the link is out, fill it immediately and then let us know. From there, we'll decide on the next line of action. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you, the Deputy State Chair, for that announcement. Please, let's key into this package. It's at Gratics and Spear. Our facilitators are just doing their best to encourage us. So please, let's also encourage them. So I'll take a final words from the two guest speakers that we have today. So I'll call on Savio Afolabi Sholesi FNIs to please give us his final words. Sir.
Thank you very much, Oga Savio. I just want to advise our young ones. This exam is not a matter of life and death. I think it should be taken as a matter of take, sit for, and succeed. Now, there are so many mistakes you are capable of making while preparing your folio.
Okay. Carry on.
There are so many mistakes you are capable of making while preparing your folios. However, after submitting those folios, and granted that so many seniors have looked at the folios before you submit, please relax and then read and read again. You'll be surprised that you find out some mistakes, discover some mistakes in those folios. And
I think we.
However, I've read that these are all to have put there, and you can see on my own copy of the folio. I wish you were. I don't think it's you just do your work well and feel okay.
Thank you very much, sir. Really appreciate your time and contribution. So we move to Savio Dr. Lola now. Your mic is muted.
Okay. Yeah. Can we?
Yes, please.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am, you can.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Loud and clear, ma'am.
Can you?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear, ma'am.
Oh, good. So it's only two things. The first one is don't procrastinate. If you procrastinate, you will make mistakes. And some of those mistakes may cost you your success in the exam. So, and you can't have 100% knowledge of what you are doing. So, but you need to know the basic principles. That was what I said before. So once you are able to get grasp of those two things, I'm sure success will definitely come. So thank you so much for the invite.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you, and thank you for your time to be with us. We really appreciate it, and we don't not for any reason take it for granted. Okay, so now we've come to the end. Please do not forget to use the link that has been sent. I think that's ysn.org, ysnlagos.org/info bot. That's it. I hope I'm correct. It's been shared. You can also look for it on the WhatsApp page, or talk to any of the executives to help you with it. And well, I can only but wish you all a success while you prepare. Please make good use of this opportunity, and I'm sure everything will be fine if we follow through the guidelines. So on behalf of the organizers of these events, and also our very beautiful stage chair and our executive, and on behalf of my own personal self, I want to say thank you very much, and please do have a wonderful evening. I remain my humble self, David Elewide. Good night.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Best of luck.
Thank you very much, sir.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sylvia. Should I say? Thank you. Thank you, everyone. All the best in your exams. Please bring home the seal for us.